Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today we are trying out some K-beauty products and we are going to go for more of a soft summer or cool muted look. So if that sounds interesting, let's get right into the video. I've already applied my foundation and concealer, so I'm going to apply a little bit of an eye primer to my eyes. I'm using my Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Eye Primer. I'm not using a K-beauty foundation. I'm using another one that I'm working on for a review video, and this is the L'Oreal True Match Tinted Serum Foundation and the L'Oreal True Match Concealer in an eye cream concealer. Both really lovely products. Everything else we're using though is going to be K-beauty or J-beauty. Just to set down my powder products, I'm going to be using a little bit of my Innisfree No-Sebum powder, and I'm going to be applying it with this cute little Wet n Wild powder brush. Now, one thing with this Innisfree powder, it does have what it says on the container is a natural mint. If you're someone who doesn't like pepperminty kind of scent, this might not be your favorite. For me though, I don't find it lingers, and it does a really lovely job at embodying oil. Now, moving on to adding some color to the skin. One thing I really love about Korean beauty is they're really focused on the seasonal color palette system, and so many of their brands will break everything down by which kind of season they're best suited for. So for me, I am what you call a soft summer or cool and muted. So to get started, I want to start by sculpting the face, and today we're going to kind of go in the middle with a bronzer. So this is the Too Cool Art Class by Rodin, and this is the shading powder in number 2 Modern. So slightly cooler tone than the original, and I'm using my Charlotte Tilbury powder and sculpt brush. You can go individual shades, I just mix them all together. So when I'm doing this kind of contour bronzer placement, I like to kind of start where I would start with my contour, slightly under my cheekbone, angle my brush up, not quite a 45-degree, angle it up so that way it's brushing up onto the cheekbone a little bit. That will, one, help to lift, but it's also going to help kind of create the illusion of warmth without adding a bronzer. And I tend to keep my contour a little bit further back because I don't want to pull it too far forward because it can make the face look gaunt, and I like keeping the fullness towards the center of my face. For contouring and shaping, I like small brushes like this. Some people call them candlestick shaped brushes, but this one is, like I mentioned, this is the Charlotte Tilbury powder and sculpt. I also love the rougher number 18 small brush, so that way I can either do larger areas like my cheeks, or I can use it on the sides of my nose to do a little bit of subtle shading. After I do that, I like to take my powder brush, no extra product on it, and I just like to run over just to soften everything and diffuse everything out, because this is more for me like a daytime look and I don't want any type of harsh edges. So now I'm going to try out a product that arrived today. This is from Rom&nd. This is their see-through Veilighter in number 2 Moonlight Veil or Moonkiss Veil, something like that. But really pretty shimmery kind of pinky lavender tone. And I'm going to be using an e.l.f. highlighting brush. Wow, that's very pretty. And when I go through to blend highlight, I always like to kind of flick it downwards. So where we flicked the contour up, I like to flick the highlight down. That way we're getting the most kind of round shape to the face, which is going to help the features pop, because normally when you contour and highlight, you're trying to accentuate a feature. So why not add the most mileage to your look? A little too shimmery for the center pane of my face, so I'm going to keep this highlight to just towards the top of my cheekbones. For blush, I couldn't make up my mind, so I'm going to layer 2 different blushes. This first one is from the brand Peripera. This is their Pure Blushed Sunshine Cheek and 01 Calm Pink. Really pretty pink color. The inside of the packaging, it says, "It's okay, you already shine." How cute is that? For that, I'm going to be using my Angie from Hot and Flashy times BK Beauty. This is the A507 Angled Blush Brush. So with this shade, I'm going to kind of start towards the back of my cheek and then wrap it forward, working at an angle again, staying higher up on the cheekbone, overlapping the highlighter shade and pulling it back into the hairline. A little bit warmer than I would normally go for with a blush, but I was expecting this, so that's why I wanted to layer 2 colors. colors. One thing I have found with some K-beauty products, sometimes some of their colors are labeled as cool toned and they can just sometimes feel a little too warm. Nothing that you can't fix with a little bit of layering. I'm gonna soften that up with my powder brush, just a pinch. And then to brighten it up and add a little bit of pop of a cool tone color to it, I'm gonna use a Better Than Cheeks blusher from Rom&nd. This is the shade 03 Blueberry Chip, same brush. This is a softer formula, a little bit more powdery, doesn't bother me, but just make sure, tap off your brush, that way you don't get too much product. I'm gonna start this towards the front of my cheek, almost taking it right under my eye, a little bit higher, and overlap the Peripera blush. This has some pigment to it. I was not expecting that, but it's pretty. This is more of a kind of classic blue-based pink. It does have a little bit of a white undertone, so if you have a skin tone, I would say much over medium. This might pull a little kind of ashy or gray on the skin, but the shade has a really beautiful clarity to it. It's a very kind of lively blush color. It's a very kind of fresh flush to the skin when you have blood coming to the surface. It's a very kind of romantic color that I quite like. I want to play with this color a little bit more, so I'm going to take just a pinch on my e.l.f. Fluffy Eye Blender, and I'm going to run that right through my socket. You can think of this almost like as a transitional tone, but this will help me to bridge my cheek and eye color together. And I'm barely getting any product in my brush. This does have a fair amount of pigment that goes a long way, and for the soft illusion I want to create with this color, you don't need much at all. CLIO Pro Eye Palette Mini in the shade Blooming Mauves. And I don't know what it is, but there is something about this like kind of chunky clear acrylic packaging that I just really love. And then also, I don't know if this will show up on camera or not, but this little like protective overlay that comes in the packaging is just so cute. I'm a sucker for things like that. I love to hang on to cute like little nothings that come with my products. I want to layer up and I want to try playing with all the shades in the palette. So I'm going to start with my Dior number 21. This is a flat shading brush, and I'm going to pick up the kind of pale bone color. This is another soft formula, so I'm going to tilt my chin back and I'm going to bring it right up that transitional tone that we laid down. I'm going to build up the second layer on. If you're someone who likes more sheer makeup, you might really like this, or if you're someone who is just kind of getting into makeup and you find some shadow formulas just to be really overwhelming, that is where the beauty of a product that is more sheer could really come into play. I like sheer shadows because that allows me to build up and I can really kind of gauge the intensity, where they'll have some shadows, like for me, it's like my Pat McGrath and Natasha Denona shadows. Sometimes I put my brush in, I think I have tapped everything off, I'm gonna get a nice soft look, and it's like, bam, pigment, and you're like, oh, it's gonna be a smoky eye today. That is one thing I like about some more soft, more buildable colors. I'm gonna continue on with that Dior brush, and I'm gonna go into the Mauve shade above. It's very soft. My brush put an indent in it, so very, very soft formula, but I'm gonna tilt my chin back. I wanna layer the shade right on top of the bone color shade that we applied. This is layering up really well. And I'm not noticing any type of color fallout, which is good. ColourPop E22 brush. I am going to mix a little bit of Mauve color we just applied with a pinch of that darker shade. And I want to use this to start sketching out the lift I like my shadow to take. I'm going to take that darkest shade by itself and just see if I can't create a little bit more depth. So you can get there, you can get a nice bit of depth, but with this formula being sheer, you are going to have to layer, which, like I said, I don't mind, but some people who want more payoff up front, you might not enjoy that. I use my e.l.f. Fluffy Eye Blender just to soften that up and smooth out my edges. Now I'm going to take a Rephr number 2 brush, which is a small flat packing brush. I just realized the shades have names on the back. So I am going to go into this shimmery shade right here called Lavender Moon. This is going to be one of those shades that does better with your finger. Hey, wow, the user error. I think I picked up way too much. Wow. Okay. I think we have some user error. I think if I would have went straight in with my finger and not kind of crushed up that formula, we wouldn't have got so much color payoff, but it's okay, you can work with it. I'm just using that E22 from ColourPop that I applied my darker shades with just to soften out and kind of blur the shades together. Then I'm gonna use my e.l.f. Fluffy Blender just to soften that even more. So this time on the other side, I'm just going to start with my finger and I'm gonna tap off any excess that's on my finger, and we're going to try again. This time I'm going to tilt my chin back, that way nothing can really fall down, and I'm going to stamp. So if you stamp and then kind of press and pull and feather out, it's much easier to control. So it's just one of those things where you have to try and experiment and sometimes mess up a little bit on camera. I can't think of any kind of Western brands that have this type of feel to it. It's like a cream in a powder. So I'm gonna go with this more kind of standard looking shimmer color called Rosy Beads. And I'm gonna use this just on the very inner corner of my eye. This is a little bit warmer, so it will help to kind of neutralize a little bit of that purpley tone from that shimmer shade right on the very center of the eye. Oh, that's really pretty when you layer them together. I quite like that. So I'm gonna go back in with my E22 from ColourPop and the darkest shade, which is called Frozen Wood, and I want to add a little bit more depth to this outside corner and taper up a bit. That's just going to help to contrast that shimmer shade I just applied. And with something like this, I like to kind of start, stop, step back, look in the mirror, move back closer, build up a little bit more. I like to build the color up a notch past where I want it to be. And then when I go back in and soften everything with my clean blender, it's going to be the level that I want it. And with my eyes relaxed, I just like to just slowly kind of drag any excess product over to where my hood is. And with this, my hand is very low on the brush and I'm just slightly massaging product in. But with my eyes relaxed, it's going to allow me to kind of pinpoint right here where my eye hood is the heaviest and just kind of push it back, recede it, because we are contouring it to just look a little bit flatter. And also the kind of shimmer shade on the lid is going to help with that illusion as well. Now with the e.l.f. Fluffy Blender, go right on the edge, soften it out. Whenever I'm doing makeup, I always like to have at least a hand mirror, or like for instance right now here I have a mirror straight ahead, I have one on the table tilted up, and then I have a handheld that I can look up into. I like to have some different angles so that way I can kind of see and stretch my eyes to get them in the position I want them for blending. Whereas if I'm doing makeup on a client, I can just kind of direct them where I need their head so I can see where I want everything. Because sometimes just looking straight ahead, or even with your eye closed, it doesn't give you the most realistic look of how things are going to look when your eyes are open, you're talking, you're engaging. I just like to see everything from the most realistic perspective as possible. So now I'm going to use this little kind of flat smudger brush from Real Techniques, and I'm going with this kind of rosy shade down here called Ash Lilac. This looks like a warmer kind of rosy mauve. It does have a subtle gold reflect to it, and I'm going to run this on my lower lash line. A little bit more of a red base than the other shades that we've worked with. I quite like it. And I feel like once I have mascara and liner, it's just gonna give that nice touch of warmth to really play off everything. Now I'm gonna take my concealer brush and just no extra product, just whatever little bit is left on. And I'm gonna run under my eyes and see if the residual moisture in this brush won't get up some of that fallout. So I'm gonna apply a liner. This is from the brand MacQueen New York. This is their waterproof pencil gel liner, and I have the shade 07 Aura Heroine. And just because I don't know how this is going to wear or if it's going to dry down too quickly, I'm going to take that brush I used my lower lash line and I'm going to smudge over gently. we might have a new favorite eyeliner. This is so smooth. Like smoother than my Marc Jacobs that I left that were discontinued, or the Pat McGrath Permagel. This is like a really smooth, easy to work with eyeliner. Wow, I'm impressed. I mean, look at this. I didn't have to sharpen or anything, just it deposited product, and wow. And I think I got this pencil either on YesStyle or Stylevana on sale for like $6, which that's amazing. So wow. The price point I think is the thing that gets me about K-Beauty, is you just get a lot of bang for your buck. I am gonna apply a little bit of like a lash primer. This is from Etude. This is the Dr. Fixer mascara. There is a clear version, which is what I have, and then a black color. And this is basically a lash primer, but what I like about this is if you brush through, hold up, and almost let the formula dry, it gives the lashes like it gives them hold. And if anything, I find it more challenging to remove than a waterproof. I mean, you have to use a really nice oil-based cleanser, and you can't wait too long to apply your mascara. So I like to apply a coat and then go back in with my mascara and apply right away, or else they can get a little chunky. The mascara I applied on top is the Rom&nd. This is the Han All Fix mascara. I have the shade Ash. This is a lengthening mascara, but you get a little bit of volume when you apply it over this. And it's so funny because when I first tried this combo, I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, my Revitalash is paying off. I've got long, luscious lashes. I was like, I don't need this. So then the next day I applied this by itself again, and this is a beautiful mascara on its own. But then I was like, oh, my lashes they're improving, but they're not the way they were yesterday. So I was like, these two must be used together. I'm stopping while I'm ahead with the mascara because this is just a formula and a combination that I can just keep applying, and they just get so pretty. It's so weird. I've never really loved my lashes, but this combo is changing things for me. I'm gonna be using a lip pencil from Etude. This is the Soft Touch Auto Lip Liner, and the shade is, I don't know, something rose. I'll have it in the description box down below. Over top, I'm going to be using a lip tint from Mauve. This is in shade number 12 called Sunday. And I've been loving this little brush. This is the Philly Millie 931. And you can just get a nice soft wash in the lips. And then to pop the center of the lip, I'm going to be using product from Peripera. This is the Ink Velvet, shade number 18, Star Plum Pink. So I like to take a little bit of this just in the very center of my lip, and then use that little brush again, go through and blur it out. And I want to kind of mute it out so that way it's not competing with the eye too much. So I'm going to be using a liquid Nude from the brand Hints. This is in shade In Depth, and this is a slightly warmer nude beige color, but it does really well at like toning something like this down. And I'm not gonna do anything to my eyebrows because that's just, I don't do anything to my eyebrows. This is a cool, kind of more muted look using some K-Beauty makeup products. These are all great. There are some learning curves. This shimmery shade in this CLIO palette, it's almost like a putty powder cream texture. And I was expecting it to go on one way, but it doesn't. And you get a lot of payoff, which isn't bad. You could easily use this as a one and done and be out of the door. Look like you put in a lot more effort than you really did. This Better Than Cheek blusher from Rom&nd. Just work with it, build it up. And I want more blush. Well, train of thought. Welcome to the way my brain works. Mid-conversation, it's just like, I want more blush. And then now I need to soften it down. I hope you all enjoy the look. Of everything we tried together today, I think my standout is this MacQueen eye pencil. This is stunning. And as long as it doesn't like disappear like in an hour, this could be like, stop everything, go buy this. It's that good. And the stuff that we tried that isn't new, this lash duo, the Rom&nd Han All Fix mascara and the Etude Dr. Mascara Fixer, these are just like perfection. I am tempted to order backups, but I have other stuff I need to use. That being said, this is our look. If you enjoyed it, make sure you give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment comment down below and let me know if you've tried any of these products or anything just made you want to try it out. And share it with a friend that you think might enjoy it. I will see you all on the next video.